and push. Freeze and push. Under, push. Parade, press.
Hello, everyone. I'm John Seaver, and I want to welcome you here today to the farewell ceremony for our beloved Chief, Tom O'Laughlin. Today, I speak for all the people of Milford, saying, thank you, Tom, for your 18 years of service and a job done extremely well. Immediately following this ceremony, all of you are invited to the Century House for a gathering where you can individually thank Tom and wish him well. Now I'd like to recognize some very important officials who have journeyed to Milford to support our chief here today. They include Worcester District Attorney Joe Early, Worcester Assistant District Attorney Jeff Travers, Worcester Court Magistrate Tom Kerrigan, Judge Rich Eustace, Judge Robert Calagione, Judge Francis Larkin, Hopedale Police Chief Mark Giovanella, Holliston Police Chief Matthew Stone, Upton Police Chief Mike Bradley, Mendon Police Chief Dave Kersey. I'd also like to recognize in the crowd former State Representative Marie Parenti, longtime Milford Selectman Dino DeBartolomeus, and our current representative, Senator Ryan Fatman, and State Representative Brian Murray. And of course, our current Selectman, Mike Walsh. At this time, I'd like to ask State Representative Brian Murray to say a few words.
Hello, Brian.
Thank you very much, John. Thank you to all of you for being here. If you're like me, then your heart is heavy now, because we don't want to say goodbye to Tom O'Laughlin, but we are. Chief O'Laughlin doesn't have to leave as chief, but he is. And the town of Milford and its police department doesn't have to face the uncertainty of its future, but we are. Tom, in his 17 years, led the department with leadership, vision, and compassion. He became part of the community. He recognized what the community needed. He made sure that the police department, the force that he had the tools, the resources, and the abilities to deal with the folks in our community fairly and with compassion. And I think that word of basic fairness really describes Tom. It's the way he dealt and does deal with everybody. Whether or not you're the governor or you're someone who just works in town, it didn't matter to Tom who you were. He is open, honest, and fair. And I think that is evident in the kind of police force that we've had over the 17 years that Tom's been here. I've told a lot of stories the last year or so about my time working with Tom and all of the different things that he's done with this community, whether or not it's dealing with the opioid crisis and working with Amy Leone and doing something that no other community in the Commonwealth is doing to recognize the fact that addiction needs treatment, not incarceration.
All right.
I've talked about how Tom is so qualified and so educated. He actually passed the bar exam before he got out of law school, which I didn't even believe until I actually saw it. That's not ordinary. And one other, story I'll tell. When I first came on the board in 2001, Tom came on in 2002. I feel honored to be with my fellow former selectmen, Dino DeBartolomeus and John Seaver, who we had the foresight and the good fortune of hiring Tom as our police chief. But I remember when Tom came on board, and one of the problems that we had as a board was trying to deal with the renewal of liquor licenses, because all kinds of things were happening in town at these different bars and establishments, and unless it was something that really made the headlines, we didn't know about it. So we mentioned that to Tom, and working with our former administrator, Lou Salazzi, Tom was the one that came forward and said, we're going to give you quarterly reports on all of the license holders. Every time there's a phone call, that's there. So that when you make your decision in November, whether or not to renew a license or to put restrictions on it, you're making an informed decision. And that's a practice that the town still uses today. It's fair to the business owners, and it's fair to the members of the community. So I'm here just to thank Tom on behalf of the community for everything that he's done with the police force and so many different areas in our town. I'm here to wish him the very best, and I'm here to offer my regrets that my town, for some reason, didn't feel it appropriate to renew the contract of one of the very best police chiefs we've ever had in the history of the town of Milford. Thank you.
Thank you, Brian. As I look out at the crowd here, I see that District Attorney Joe Early has arrived. Joe, can you raise your hand?
Hey, Joe! Hey, Joe!
Also, I look out at the crowd and I see former State Senator Lou Bertinazi is here also. At this time, I'd like to ask our Milford Selectman, Mike Walsh, to say a few words.
Thank you, John. And thank you to all of you for being here today in support of Tom. For those of you who call Tom, he always answers the phone and he'll say to you, today is the best day of the rest of my life. Well, Tom, today is not the best day of my life. Because not only am I seeing a friend go into retirement, I'm seeing, as State Representative Brian Murray made reference to, the greatest police chief in the Commonwealth of Massachusetts. I'd be remiss if I didn't pay respect to the three gentlemen that had the final decision to bring Tom to Milford in 2002. And that is Dino DeBartolomeus, now State Rep Brian Murray, and John Seaver. They had the vision to know that Tom was going to be an effective leader, and he was going to take this department to where it has to go, where it had to go. I'd like to share a few short stories with you that I've had with Tom O'Laughlin, so that you truly understand, and I know you do, and that's why you're here today. Tom called me up one night and said, you know what, Michael? And when people call me Michael, I think I'm in trouble. He said, anybody can take somebody out of a car and put handcuffs on them. But did you ever take the time to say, why'd you run the red light? Why'd you run the stop sign? Why are you driving so fast? Why are you angry? And when you ask those questions, out will come loss of a loved one. I'm driving to work. I think I'm going to lose my job. I had a fight with my 16-year-old son this morning, or I'm just having a bad day. And he said to me, remember one thing, Michael, when you walk by those cruisers, the fenders on those cruisers say protect and serve, not arrest. That's our chief. That's Tom O'Loughlin. And he uses... And that same philosophy runs through his police department. Tom has another great saying, you call, we go. And that's so, so true. Last summer, I stood by Tom for 3 hours at the Portuguese picnic. Now, I thought I was pretty popular. But every single person, young, old, tall, small, didn't matter, said, hi, Tom, hi, Chief, hi, Mr. O'Loughlin. He knew every single one of them by first name. And after 3 hours, I finally looked at him. I said, how do you know all these people by first name? And he said, that's what being a good police chief is all about. He cares about people in his community. And that's exactly who Tom O'Loughlin truly is. And it's very sad to stand here today and see him go into retirement, because it could have been so different. So different as State Representative Brian Murray made reference to. He leaves behind a great legacy. He leaves behind a department that's running like a fine-oiled machine. Fine-oiled machine. He's leaving behind a group of men and women that have the utmost respect for him and have the same vision that he has for you. And that is to protect and serve. And so with that, I want to again say thank you to all of you for being here. Thank you for coming out to support Tom, support our chief, support our department, our men and women, who every single day make sure that this is a safe community. We owe them a round of applause, please. And again, thank you very, very much.
Thank you, Mike. I am now going to turn the podium over to Deputy Police Chief Jim Falvey, who will introduce our honored guest.
Good afternoon. Thank you for coming to say goodbye to the chief. Wish him luck. 17 years ago, past town officials did a wonderful job bringing Tom O'Loughlin to the police department. Back then, we weren't a very well-oiled machine. We are now, thanks to him. He gave everyone here, all the police officers, the opportunities to grow professionally. And when those officers anyone had any kind of family difficulties or issues whatsoever, no matter who they were, he was there for us. He had each and every one of our back when we needed him. He also had our back professionally. If you had a question, you had a tough question you didn't know, you could call the chief. He'd pick up that phone and he'd give us the proper answer, and he knew it right off the top of his head. And that was a valuable asset to every one of us here. And so for that, I'd like to thank him. He also did that with the civilians. If you was a citizen of Milford, and even I've heard stories, even citizens outside of Milford, they had an issue, they'd reach out to the chief. I've heard numerous things where he was very helpful to not only law enforcement officials outside the community, to everyday citizens who had an issue. He always had the time for everyone. And he was always, from what I was told, very helpful to everyone and their issues. So I had much more to say, but it's already been said by the town officials. But again, I'd like to thank him on behalf of every officer that's in this police department. Again, thank you very much. Thank you for helping us grow professionally, helping us personally whenever we had it. And it's going to be very difficult to find a person of his character and his professionalism and his knowledge to replace him. Thank you, Chief.
Well, I should be applauding you. I want to take this opportunity, and you know, Mike, I do say that often because I take every day as a blessing. So today is the best day of the rest of my life. I want to thank each of these gentlemen for all that they've done, not only today, but in helping me over the years rebuild the police department. These officers that you see here, many of them have worked with me half of their careers, and they truly make a difference every day in this community in doing just that, helping people. That's the difference. So I want to thank each one of these officers. I was fortunate to work with them. And I was fortunate to work for you. I'm appreciative. I walk away today, and by the way, I'm still around till Sunday, 11:59 p.m. So, so if you find you have a need to pick up the phone, feel free. And the phone number's not changing, by the way. So if I can help you afterward, call me. But I've been blessed. I've been fortunate. You know, my wife said to me one day. My wife John is here. She said to me one day. That's the real boss. She said to me one day, you know, you're the luckiest person I know. You don't view what you do for a living as a job. It's not work. You love it, so you go there every single day. And by the way, I do come here every single day. You know, if I miss a Sunday or I miss a Saturday, it's very, very rare. I stop in, I check in, see how everyone's doing, and then go about my personal business. I have been lucky because I've performed services that I've enjoyed. I love it. The rewards to me in helping others made all the difference in my life. So I want to thank you, the Milford community. I love this town. I'm not going anywhere. You live here, I'm not going anywhere. So thank you, thank you, thank you. Thank all of you. These men and women, that's what you see here. These men and women are the best.
You got it.
They're the absolute best. Many of the auxiliary special police officers that you see, they're going to be stepping up. And then you have our police explorers, these young men and ladies, high school students who want to move into a law enforcement career. So we're grooming them from high school. And as important, we're hiring young people from this community. People that know the community, people that know you. When Mike Walsh says, geez, You know, I stand there and I know people. I know people because I like people, so I go out there and meet them. But having someone that grew up in this community, I do, and I came from the outside, but I do think that there's value. And that's why a number of these young officers, you know, they started out as auxiliary special police officers, went to the academy on their own time, and here they are today. They're living the same dream that I started 42 years ago. A reporter today asked me, geez, does it seem like a long time ago? No, I remember my first day. It actually seems like that. So, yes, there have been tough days, but you know what? The good days far outweigh them. So, thank you all again. And by the way, it's not Century House anymore, okay? It's the Crystal Room. Just like McCausland's Market is Main Street Market. My good friend, Officer Paul Murphy, when I first came here, all the old landmarks, and he would refer to them. You know, we're down near McCausland's Market. All right. That narrows it down for me, the kid that came from the city. So feel free to join us. We'd love to have you. I do want to just take a moment to say thank you very much to my good friend Joe Early, my good friend Jeff Travers, the first assistant, awesome partners, the fire chief, Bill Toohey, the deputy fire chief, Mark Nelson, true partners. We work together. You know, this is probably one of the only communities you call in a medical call, both police and fire come, because we support each other. Judge Calagione, thank you for being here.
All right, Bobby.
All of the court personnel, Tom Paragon, Judge Eustace, can't thank them enough. We have a very, very strong relationship. They'll tell you the quality of police officers that you have in this community. And then my dear friend Lou Salazzi.
All right, Lou.
I worked many, many years with Lou. Great guy, good friend, and no one loves this town more than him. So, thank you all. I can't believe you all came out on such a hot day. Thank you again.
Detail, up and good. Always be my champion.
Get old. I got lots of them.
I'm gonna adjust.
Detail, up and good. Dismiss.
You know, I'm not vanishing. I'm going to be here. I'm a member of this community, so I look forward to you know, that next chapter. You know, it's I've reaped the rewards personally. You know, from serving this community. I'm blessed.